Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Law and Disorder. We had a little technical glitch. That's why I got the headphones on. Hope you hear me very well. If you don't, say something. You could cut in Facebook, and I really like comments. I like comment keeps me going too. Say Happy Columbus Day to all you Italians and non-Italian. Uh, 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 we had a little party on Arthur Avenue, impromptu. It was very nice for some old friends, and it's good to go back to your roots and see your friends and have a good. Um, Also, I want to thank a lot of the people, a lot of Facebook friends to my books at headquarters. Now, I was told that it's not a good place to have his book, but it was successful. It was nice. I made contact with a lot of old friends and some new business acquaintances, and it was nice. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. I have my hey Mike, how are you? I got my favorite co-host Courtney in the wings, waiting for me to finish my rant, and then she can say something. I'm not gonna rant. I'm just gonna tell like it is. Tell it like it is. Okay. I don't know where to start. Let's start locally. Let's start from New York. Okay. The mayor has been using his police department to ferry him around the country when he was running for uh, president. He didn't run too far. Matter of fact, it was a trot. And he trotted back to New York. Now the ethics committee is going after him. And the district attorney office is going after the inspector that was in charge of his detail because he obstructed an investigation. And it's interesting now that he's almost out. Now that it's starting to get a little ballsy with him, but it's too late. Look, what about his wife? His wife has almost $1 billion worth of our taxpayer money that she used for a called Thrive. It didn't do anything. I see. I don't. There's no reports. There's nothing about it. However, if you ask her about the money, she doesn't know anyway. And I would venture to say I had the time to investigate her, but nobody's paying, so I'm not going to do it. But she probably had like a hundred of her friends on the payroll and nothing and getting big money, and she do anything for the homeless. But homeless people are worse. If you ever you go in the city on 6th Avenue, there's so many homeless, it's unbelievable. But other part of the city have no homelessness. I was in Manhattan today. I would maybe saw one or two homeless people. It depends where you are, and then like Times Square. One of the things that annoys me about Blasey, he wants to defund the police. He's destroyed some of the great departments, departments with this department, anti-crime, the gun squad. I mean, so many different ways he screwed up this police department. Now that he's going out. Hopefully, the new mayor and the presumptuous is Eric Adams, a former NYPD captain, who I met on a few occasions, and before he was running for mayor, and he seems to be a very nice guy. And people that I know that work with him, there's some mixed feelings because he did go against the department. He started some organization, 100 Blacks against, I don't know, something like that. 100 Blacks law enforcement, and I'm sure they had some good reasons to do what they did, but some of the police feel that you know. So let's see. People think he's going to be Blasio 2.0, which I don't think so. I don't think it could be that bad. I think De Blasio just stays up at night just thinking of ways to screw the city. Okay. Speaking of screwing the city, a woman murdered in Times Square the other day. They're robbing people left and right. I don't know where. I don't have undercover police officers in Times Square. I mean, uniform cop. They don't even have many uniform cops, but they should have some undercover cops. Especially, there was a big article about they've been robbing rich patrons from some of the best nightclubs in the city and restaurants. So they're coming out with $50,000 Rolex watches, and they're grabbing them. They actually the guy. I mean, you see, here's the way law enforcement works. Because I was in law enforcement. When you have a particular situation, everybody rushes to do something about it, because now they're embarrassed. Oh my God, it's going out of hand. So they'll do something, and then something else will somewhere else. Some other problem will be. It's hard to keep in track of everything, but an area like time where this crime is rampant, and you can walk down the street there and shooting drugs. One picture the post had of a guy getting oral from a prostitute in a corner in site. Clear sight. I mean, if you go walk by with your kids to see one of these puppeteers that are walking around in uniform, these mask. I call them masquerades, and they have for a tip, but that's another story. We're not going to get into that. Uh, I mean, you got kid over there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I don't think anybody really cares. And, uh, uh, you have homeless people committing crime. Now, the funny thing about this, one of the that got killed in Times Square by mentally, they're charged with murder. Now you know the defense reason of insanity, but will they put him in a mental institution for 20 years instead of a jail? That is a question. If they that, it's some measure of justice. Even legally, a person, if they're mentally deficient, they can't stand trial or whatever, they're not innocent because of the mental illness. They're guilty, but in a different way. They're guilty mentally, and something should be done about it. Now, when I say guilty, some people could dissect that a hundred different ways. What I mean is they have a situation that has to be addressed. You could call it guilty. You could call it. It's just a situation. Period. And I don't know how. I work cases in mental hospitals. I had some. They were prescribing certain drugs to mental patients that were dying. They were aspirating. They were choking in their own vomit because of certain drugs they were getting. Sometimes the doctors that work in mental hospitals aren't that good. But then again, that goes to hospital because, from my experience, most doctors are good, but you always got a few that just barely get through. And my experience is in that these people have to be confined. They can't be out in public unless you drug them up, and if you drug them up, they got to come back to the hospital. It's tough. It's tough. You have somebody in your family with mental illness. It's really bad. Now we have a president with mental illness. It's called dementia. He was in Ohio speaking the other day. If you ever listen to his speech, it's gibberish. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He even corrects himself in mid sentence sometimes. I don't know. I don't understand. And people still, people that hate Trump so much are hiding the fact that Biden is incompetent. He's terrible. They hide it. They try to blame it on Trump. Whatever Biden did, and he did a lot of things. We're going to talk about that tonight, and I got Courtney to help me out with that. Um, it's amazing, amazing. No matter what Biden does, they blame Trump. Afghanistan, Trump had everything in order. Trump had everything in order. Plus, even if Trump didn't have everything in order, okay, he is the president of the United States. He is now doing it present. He could change the rules. He could change the agreement. He could change whatever was in place positively instead of negatively. The opposite. First of all, anybody coming out of boot camp in the Army or the Marines or Navy would know that in a hostile situation, you let the innocent people, let the men, women, and children that are non-combatants out of the area, and you take care of business if you have to. Okay, they did the opposite. They left these people stranded, and they didn't have enough troops to help out. This is trying to get the airport in check. We're gonna about more and more people dying in Afghanistan that never weren't out, that were able to leave. That's a fact, and they can send it any way they want. Oh, we got 100,000 people. What about the 5,000 left? I mean, they don't talk about that. They talk about the things that consider positive. And Biden actually thought that he is in Afghanistan. Okay, we were going to let's go back to the local. We're talking about New York City, the muggers. The muggers are going crazy. Why? Because the Democrats have a no bail reform bill. It drives me crazy. They don't want no bail. Okay, they don't have bail. Fine. So what happens is people come out of jail, they commit crime. They know it's worse than a revolving door. It's not even a door anymore. It's just you walk in and walk out. You don't even have to open the door. They're not afraid. They're not afraid. Plus, you have a lot of gun violence. Now, I love the way hey, my daughter. That's a nice picture of my wife that passed away 13 years ago this week. Bruno Polo. All right, bro. I like that with a cigar in mouth. Okay. You took the cigar in your mouth? Can't. All right. There are drugstores in third world nations. Many shelves are empty because of robbery. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Eddie Gazzetti. Um, in some of the states, I can't believe if you steal under $1,000, they're going to prosecute you. So what are they doing? They're stealing $999 worth of stuff. So they walk right out of the stores. So what's happening is the stores, especially Greens and then hey, Gwinnett Fire. What's happening is they can't afford to keep this open. They're being robbed. People don't want into the stores where they know robberies are going on. So they're losing business and they're losing money. I don't. People remember a few years ago a prisoner in the van died. Freddie Gray. They had riots in Baltimore. They destroyed a couple of the CVS's and some of the drugs. The people in that neighborhood had to go 10, 20, 30 blocks away, get a drugstore to fill the prescriptions because they're done in their neighborhood. How bad it was. And that's what's happening in San Francisco. Well, first of all these DAs are all, hey, I don't want to sound like a frustrated Republican, but I'm a conservative. But nevertheless, they are all letting people go. Look at the Ellen. How are you? Uh, Look at district attorney in Chicago. Okay, district attorney in Chicago did not want to prosecute. Four guys had a shootout. Everybody saw it. Shooting. The one guy got killed. It was a mess. Oh, we don't have enough of it. You got video of people shooting. I mean, it's click. At least get them for number one, illegal possession of a firearm. Of discharging a fire in the city, and also not to mention attempted murder. No, we don't have evidence. Even Lori Light, that I don't want that weird-looking mayor of Chicago. Even she got pissed at the DA. Well, of course, she's running for re-election, and it takes a village of idiots to elect a village idiot. And I don't know if I love Chicago. I got a lot of friends in Chicago. I love Chicago. But if they vote for this again, I don't understand. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. The blacks are getting killed left and right. Not blacks in the gangs. It's innocent people. They're shooting at each other. It's going through a window, killing a little baby. How many times we got to hear this? A woman sitting in her couch watching television. Boom! It could hit her in the face out of nowhere. I mean, what are you going to put bulletproof glass in everybody's? I mean, it's just crazy. What I don't understand is how the Democrats, and they were supposed to be the party. When I was, in fact, my father, my family was all Democrat. I was a member of the Democratic Club. I used to go out and petition. I used to do work for them. But it was a different time. That was when you could discuss things amicably. You could discuss things professionally. Now you hate each other. It's crazy. Um, I don't understand how they want all this bill reform. Now, legislators, the congressmen, senators that are passing these laws, or the state senates and the state congress, these people live in gated community. They are they go into politics middle upper middle. All of a sudden they're multi-millionaires. Hey Julie, how are you? Good day, guys. Hi Vinny. Okay. um we I'll give you an example. One of the congresswomen, she is voting to. I think she's from Minnesota. Defund the police fund, and she has a security detail, a private police that this we're paying for. That's costing the government about 250,000 a year, but it's okay because she's got threats. Everybody gets threats. That's part of the game. No, many of them really. I mean, the only one that got shot as a Congress was Scalise, and he wasn't even just he wasn't threatened. They shot him. Okay. He's a Republican. Doesn't count. If you shoot a Republican, it's okay. It's reason. Um, Courtney, let's have Courtney come on. I want to keep talking. I talk too much. I talk too much.
Hello. How's it going? So I want to ask you about, you were talking about like all the crime in New York. So I don't know if this is true. You would probably know this, but I heard that they're paying criminals not to commit crime.
Yes. That's why you're on. I forgot.
Work and can I get in on this? Like, do I?
Yeah. I mean, I went to 1 year. I'm a felon. I guess I should get paid. I mean,
like I'm thinking of committing a crime. So can you pay me?
They really think that's gonna. That is that's extortion. That you're giving people money not to commit a crime. So
It's very bizarre.
It's like the old protection racket. If your windows are going to be broken if you don't give me money every week, and the guy says, "Screw you, I'm not going to give money." They break his window.
Right.
And he said, maybe I should give these guys some money and they'll leave my window alone. And they're doing the same thing. Let's give us money so we don't commit crime, but they're going to commit crimes anyway. Listen, the governor of New York State pardoned a whole bunch of people, let a whole bunch of people out of jail.
Yeah.
7 out of 9 of them committed crimes already within a week.
Okay.
What does that show you? These people. First of all, I don't know about California or even Tennessee. New York State has 68% of a repeat offense. They violated parole.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
It tells you that they're not really reforming, are they?
No, they're not. They have all these programs. Now it's funny about these programs. They're supposed to help you, right? So you have one anger punishment. You have all awareness. It's a drug. Depends what your crime is. Okay, so some of them they do teach them trades. Like welding and things that they can job at, and some do. And I have to, and I got to see some of them actually go through the program, get some sort of certificate, and they have a fruitful, good life, and they don't want to go back to jail.
They're the exception to the rule, though. They're not the norm. They're exception.
Not the norm. No, it's not the norm. It's not the norm.
Yeah. And I think that opportunity should be there. I mean, absolutely. Everybody deserves to have an opportunity for redemption, and they have an yeah. And that's what those programs should be designed to, be a conduit for. But
Joe DeFelice, to see the two of you back on the cast together, yeah. We're gonna have like a cheering section.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm having. By the way, I'd love to have back on the show. I miss Joe too. We have some good repartee. I like, yeah.
Yes, I miss being here. Yeah, super fun.
Yeah. Now we just moved out of LA, so you have crime. I mean.
Yeah, you remember my story with my phone literally being stolen out of my hands as I was.
But you're an athletic girl. You fought back, right? Right.
Well, I started to run after the guy, and I realized very quickly that there was no way I was going to catch the guy. He was a very, very fast kid. So I started screaming like at the top of my lungs, and I was pointing. I was like telling people what he was wearing, and I'm like, "Get it!" He stole my phone. I lost my voice. I kept screaming.
You lost your phone. You lost your voice. You
lost
integrity. You lost everything.
It was broad daylight. Like everybody was watching.
Yeah, but your phone, don't you have a thing you call it up and they can locate the phone to you?
So this is what happened. I screamed, right? And so people got into their cars and started chasing after the guy.
Oh,
And
they did. Oh,
one guy was on his bike and he hunted him down and he came back and he retrieved my stuff for me.
oh, that's
I
nice.
know. And then I called the police
Yeah.
because there was a liquor shop right next to where I was, and I figured they caught the whole thing on film, and they did. I went into the shop and I was like, "Can we look at the footage?" Once the police got there, and the police were like, "Do you want to press charges?" I'm like, "Yeah, he committed a crime. He stole my belongings. Of course I want to press charges. What do you think I called you for?" And they were like, "Oh, well, I mean, that's pretty bold. That's pretty brave. I don't know. Most people don't do that."
What?
Yeah, that's what they told me.
Cops are getting feminine. The, the male cops are getting feminine. Feminine
Yeah,
cops.
I mean, they don't feel. Yeah, right, right. They didn't want to bother, I guess, reporting it or doing their job. I don't know what it was, but they were like, "Yeah, are you sure about that?" I mean, that doesn't seem like. I mean, most people don't want to do that because that's pretty brave. I'm like, it's not brave. It's a crime. Like I reported it. I'm calling you. You should go punish him. Crime should be punished.
Well, they,
And that brings us to you were talking about the Biden family, and that's something that's frustrating me so much that we're seeing it on the local level, with like a crime that happened to me personally. You're seeing it in New York City. The crime is escalating. And we're seeing it globally, and we're certainly seeing it within our federal and state politicians. And I think what bothers me so much is that this is happening because there's no consequences for actions. They're getting away with it. And so they just continue, it just perpetuates because
I asked you before when we did the pre-show interview before together. I asked you if you were a mother, and you
Mhm,
didn't understand why I was going. Garland Mullick is the Attorney General. He was
mhm.
told by Biden to go after these women, mothers that are complaining to the boards about how their kid being brought up, and they're calling them domestic terrorists. How do
Unbelievable. I
you call a
saw
mother
that.
a domestic terrorist?
Right, because
Now,
they're saying that,
now I'm getting I'm getting pissed off. I mean,
yeah, because they
meanwhile,
want
you
to
got
separate.
Black Lives Matter for burning sit down, and they're not terrorists. Hello, I don't hear. Hello, did you mute?
Oh, it's so
Okay, you
weird. It
muted.
muted me. Yeah,
You manipulated me.
what they're trying to do is separate children from their parents. So they're saying that parents shouldn't have control over what their children are learning in school. They're doing this as a way to try and take the kids away from the parents. And
What
it's
what bothers that these people have a First Amendment right to protest. They're not even protesting. They're having a discussion with the school board. They're claiming that they're threatening them. Well, they're threatening their job to say, listen, if you don't, we're going to fire you. You're the school board. We're going to vote out. Right? Right? Do
right.
that. But that's not a terrorist threat. I mean, I don't understand.
No. But they're doing it because that's a way by labeling them terrorists, it's a way to be able to have control over them and to be able to separate them. They want to take the kids away. That's what's going on. I mean, that's what happens in every communist country. You take control over
Yeah.
the children, right? It's always what they do.
I mean,
And
once
that's
in
what we're
a
seeing.
while, your
These are the
parent
first signs of that.
you get a parent that gets a little crazy. He might throw a punch or something. But that's rare. But these are mothers complaining about what's and a lot of and you know what? I got a feeling there's going to be a real rave this next election. By the way, the local election Democrats have been losing. In Massachusetts State Assembly, not federal, or state senator, an incumbent Democrat, and just another one day Iowa, the a Republican beat in the special election. And
Mhm.
the Democrats are really scared because they can't rely on their president, who is. Did you hear the speech the other day in Ohio? He was he gobbled, mumbling.
Yeah,
He
I didn't
corrected
hear that
himself.
one. I heard a little bit of his speech today, and it sounded like people keep saying he's a puppet, and who are the marionettes who are pulling the string? And I don't know. Today his speech sounded like something straight out of the World Economic Forum. He was talking all about the carbon emissions and how we're going to have to really keep those down, and that he was talking about the supply chain, and that we need to be preparing for this. It was straight out of the World Economic Forum. And what's going on with that. Like, they want to create a not just a carbon tax, but a carbon credit system that is tied to your. It's essentially like a social credit, but it's based on carbon. And this is in the white paper. This isn't like crazy conspiracy theory. You can go and read this stuff. It is all out there in the open. But they want to do so it's going to be like once a month you can get meat. After you spent so much on gas, then you can't get any more. And depending on what types of
They really want to do this.
how much, then they're going to cap you off, and you won't have access to anything. They'll be like, "You're paying your
Sounds
time."
like communist Russia a few years ago when you had it online to get toilet paper.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
101, start indoctrinate the children as the fourth grade. Yes.
They start even younger than that, Joe. It's so scary. Even younger than that. Fourth grade is it's way younger. But yeah, this is absolutely tyranny that he's talking about, and he's doing it all under the guise of because they're trying to prepare us that the next wave is going to be the climate change. That's what the big threat, ominous threat that we need to worry about.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was talking about that today in his speech, and I was like, yeah, sounds exactly like Klaus Schwab wrote this speech. That's what it sounds like.
Well, did Karl Marx also tell them how to criminal?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll give you an example. You're driving a car,
Mm-hmm.
or you're driving while intoxicated, and somebody, and you could kill them. Okay, you could get charged with molecular homicide, you could get manslaughter, stuff like that. But when you're to the United States and you allow American citizens to be shuttled back and forth and not able to come to their own country, you didn't have enough troops, and you took the troops out first, and not I think that's negligent homicide. 13 people died at the gate. They shouldn't have died at the gate. From 13 Americans, and then 40 other people died. I think and also at the border, you know how many people dying coming over. You don't hear about it. The mainstream media doesn't tell you about it.
Of course not.
Children are
the
drowning.
mainstream media is telling people that Southwest is the only airline that has weather issues. That the clouds only follow Southwest. I mean, and people buy this. That's what's crazy. People are so brainwashed, and they're so steeped in. The conditioning is so deep that people actually believe this. It's like they're not capable of seeing through, and thinking for themselves. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. Like, really, the clouds only affect Southwest. Wow, that's interesting. But yeah, that's the mainstream media and the people who buy into it.
Big tech and the mainstream media are hiding all these things. Right. They only want you to hear things that make Biden or the Democrats good.
Right. Actually, the mass line actions.
I don't have it with me, but I had a chart of all the people related to the Hillary and the Democratic Party that on ABC, NBC, CBS,
right.
They're all related. Who married what? I would venture it was incestuous. The way I.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, that would make sense.
His daughter married one of the sons of one of the Khomeinis, one of the Iranian mullahs or whatever you call them. And then Obama and Kerry negotiated the Iran deal with them, which is terrible. Opposite of what Trump did. Right. Now they're going to have a bomb in a few years, and they're going to bomb Israel, and Israel's going to bomb them. Right. Before you know it, the whole Middle East is one piece of glass.
I hope not. That's
I hope not either. But you know what? First of all, you have a religious fanatic area
Hmm.
It's not the Muslims. It's the Islamic. I meant the Islamic. They have
It's
God.
the radicals,
Okay, the
the radicals.
radicals,
Yeah, the
and
fundamentalists. Yeah,
they are looking for any excuse to kill Jews. Okay, that's
yeah,
their life's swarming. And there's so many countries there that have fought against it, lost.
yeah.
Syria, Jordan, that was one. Egypt got, and I leave anybody. I left somebody out. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is in their back of they want to get Israel. They want them off. That's they consider that their land, and
Right.
that might be in their mind that might be a legitimate concern. But in my
Sure.
mind, Israel is Israel. Okay, that's the country with borders. So they keep getting attacked by the Hamas and by the
I know.
now with the Taliban taking all those armaments that the United States and Biden left. I can't believe his general didn't tell him, "Hey, it's standard operating procedure to take your weapons back. We'll leave it for the enemy." That in boot camp.
It's like
When you were
military
private, you
strategy
learned that
101, you know?
101, boot camp
Yeah.
101. So I don't understand how they could leave at least destroy equipment.
So
This,
I think this is so funny because people are like, well,
I mean,
Trump
you ever
had
watch movies when they land helicopter, they throw a hand grenade, they don't want the enemy to find, he gave them, I don't know how many hundreds, I mean, unbelievable. We actually out
yeah.
the whole army. Now, the Taliban, with all this equipment, you think they're going to just, they're not going to play with it? They're not going to use it? They're going to either go into Pakistan,
Yeah.
Pakistan and them are pretty, but I can understand, and with equipment, they have
Yeah.
enough to arm the whole army. And if they attack Pakistan had nuclear weapons. You know that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't understand how Pakistan can get anybody to let them have a nuclear weapon. They can't even run frickin' 7-Eleven correctly. They can't. I'm sorry. I'm being. Someone might say I'm being racist. I am. I am.
Right.
So what? I am.
I think the whole thing with that's so funny is people are like, well, Trump had a great plan. And I'm like, no, Trump was just following, like, I mean, not that it was common sense. This is military strategy 101. You always take the civilians, the women and the children first. You take the weapons. And then the troops. You never take the troops out first. Like that, they come last. Like that's military strategy 101.
When I was a kid, I used to read
Unless you want to destroy the country, our country.
Superman comics characters, the Bizarro. It was a reverse world of America, and that's what I think we got. We have everything we're doing is reverse, like the Bizarre world.
Yeah.
As of September, city has seen 26,385 complaints of theft. Most of them
Yeah.
back to Nanny. How many of these things are out on the street?
It's because there are no
That's right, Eddie.
consequences. They're saying like under $900 a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Like there's no consequences.
But the problem is, New York City has a program called Broken Winds. Very successful program. What the program said, if you see a small crime, get it out of the way because it's going to become a big crime. So the idea of broke. If you see a broken window, somebody can break in, or they can rob that. So that was where the name was coined, Broken Windows. What do you call? Rudy Giuliani had a very good police commissioner, Bratton, and he put that into effect. He also put an effect called cop stat. What they did was, if there was a crime in a particular area, they put more police in that area, and they addressed each problem. So it was very effective. It was effective for Giuliani, and it was effective for Bloomberg. Now, Bloomberg, a little bit, he was a Republican, but he was like a liberal Republican. But he followed a good advice of Giuliani. Giuliani had a program. He same thing. Then what happened when de Blasio got in? He ruined everything.
Yep.
He's a Marxist. He was in Nicaragua. He was the Sandinistas. He was a Mark from This guy never had a regular job. He's always been a politician or a protester or an organizer. Never had it. He never worked in retail. He never had a real job.
Right.
Never worked construction or anything like that. By the way, you could go down the line with all state senators and Congress people, congressmen
Right.
and women who have been in Congress for 40, 47 years. Never,
Yeah.
Biden. Talking about Biden tonight. I hope we have enough time. We get off the subject. We're off the subject. Biden claimed that he worked driving a diesel truck. He lies about his.
He's
He
been in
he's lying.
Congress for almost 50. He's been in politics for almost 50 years.
I understand how he could say. I think his mind is going. He's not lying. He's fantasizing. But
I think it's both.
Truman's
To
been
be honest, I feel like it's both.
he's in the Senate since I don't know 40 something. He never had a job. He never had a job 9 to 5. He had a. I think he went to law school, then went to politics. He never worked at a law firm. He never worked for days.
No.
Nancy Pelosi, all of them, and they have
career politicians. Yeah.
tell the working people how much money they're going to make and how much it's amazing. And every one of them becomes millionaires.
Yeah.
Then
On a less than $250,000 a year, somehow they end up becoming millionaires.
They have
Funny how that works.
but when they do it, it's legal. And when Martha Stewart did it, he got arrested and went to jail. Anybody does it, it's against law. They do it okay.
Right.
All right. Matter of fact,
anybody who can do basic math knows something doesn't add up. They must be doing something
doesn't add up. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Nancy bought $1 million worth of Teslas.
Yeah.
A week before Biden announced that they were going to use electric car post office or something like that.
She's involved in all sorts of insider
They know what legislation's up.
Exactly.
But it's not fair. It's not fair.
Well, and why is it not called insider trading when it's the politicians? Why don't they get in trouble?
They're the ones that make the laws.
Right.
That can break the
the
they're
rules
the ones that can skirt the laws.
Got it. Yeah.
I mean,
this is my question. So we were talking about this before, like I was saying how I'm so upset with, we see that there's no consequences for action. So, whether it be at the federal level with the, federal politicians or locally, or we're seeing the crime, just everyday crime increase. So my question is, when is enough? When do the people say this is not okay? There needs to be some sort of retribution.
You know what conservative is? A liberal that got mugged.
A liberal like a monk?
Got mugged.
Uh-huh.
They become conservative. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Old saying, and it's true.
Mhm.
Once they get mugged, once they get robbed, then they're going to realize, well, we need the cops. Matter of fact, a guy, I think Minneapolis, one of the a black fellow who was running for some office, defund the police. His car got stolen in the daytime. He ran to the police.
Yeah.
So it's so hypocritical.
It's very hypocritical. Yeah.
You know that they had the riots in Ferguson, Missouri. That guy Brown got shot. The leader of the thing, his house was robbed while he was protesting against the police. He had to call the police because his house was robbed. And it's a joke. It's a joke.
Right.
It's another excuse to divide the country. They will divide. Now, Biden. Well, I'm going to talk about it as crime. We got a few minutes left. The mainstream media, Twitter, Facebook, has it up for them immensely. They admit, I think one of their whistleblowers even admit that they turned the election against.
That was a plant. She was so not a whistleblower.
Yes.
That was totally a plant so that they could crack down more censorship. And like clockwork, the next day, Facebook changes its terms and conditions, and Instagram starts putting in like all sorts of default settings that you had to change, and most people didn't know.
Right.
It was like clockwork. And of course, the White House was covering up. And the first thing they were saying was that, well, now we need to, crack
Come,
down on.
how come CNN and MSNBC and CBC, how come they never show videos of the border, of the crisis at the border? Fox always does. And I think, what's the other one? Newsmax. And the one others,
One
one,
American News.
they will, but they won't. They don't want anybody to see what people to see what's going on.
Well, of course,
So
the
conservative
media they just
TV,
cover it.
more
The me-
conservative, so people could see what's going on. So like I said, but how do these people let this all go by? People, like for example, Maxine Waters doesn't want voters registration, voters ID card. But if you go have $5 million ticket tour, you got to show ID. If you want to get your EBT card, SNAP, you got an ID. If you
Yep.
want to get welfare, you show your ID. You want to get on a plane, you got to show your ID. To vote, claim it's racist. Why is
Yeah.
it? One time
But
Biden
you know
said,
what? It's not racist when they ask to see your papers. They want to see your medical papers now, but somehow that's not racist.
no.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. And that is actually systemically racist because the largest population of people who are, refusing this happen to be that population. So
Yeah.
if anything is actually systemically racist, I would say that that's probably it.
Jamie Diaz. Hi, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I goes back to what I said before. Hypocrisy. It's all.
Yeah. Double
Now,
speak.
you know what's the best thing? The Democrats in Congress and they Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, you got to wear a mask. There's video of them having parties. Nobody's wearing a mask, but you got to wear a mask.
If
They've
it's
been-
Obama's birthday, then you don't need to wear a mask. That's how it works.
Yeah. If you're the leaders, the elite, you don't have.
Yep.
Now, for example, they covered up the top. Hunter Biden laptop. There was so many crimes committed. One is child pornography on there. In
Yeah.
China, where he had checks with women, I guess it's illegal. I don't know. But here, so you charge him with having sex with a minor there. As the video of them that pornography, child pornography.
Yeah.
Also, there's money that he got from Burisma, from the Moscow. Well, the second, the biggest criminal in Russia, Putin. The second one is the mayor of Moscow. Okay, that's how it works. And I know that from law enforcement.
Sure.
So money from the second hoodlum, the wife of the hood, and nothing happened. They finally transferred to his account. What did they do? They said maybe they're going to for taxes, but they haven't done anything. Okay. Now, all these, another crime of the money laundering. He gets when he charges $75,000, $500,000 for a worthless painting. That is money laundering. It's money laundering 101. You got dirty money going to different people that you want, clean it. You give some sort of commodity like art, which is bullshit. They take that money, they pay tax on it, but they still all this, they still have 65% of dirty money is there now, tax free.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing, and and he doesn't want his clothes to be known. They're limits. That's bullshit. But a real art dealer would not be like that. That's garbage. That's the way. And also email. Now,
I personally, I think it's a cover. I don't even think it's about the art. Yeah.
Well, that's true too. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
I can't prove that. I don't know. But
No. I mean,
kind
listen,
of where
I've to auto. I'm invited to. You name it. Yeah. I'm getting invited to everything. I don't know what it is. I'm getting invited to Pet Cemetery opening. I don't know. I'm only kidding. Right. But I've got so many art openings, and I've art that I said, oh my god, how could you? But it's what the market will bear. If you have a name or you have something that you can promote and get for, do it. That's
Yeah.
capitalism. But
Yeah.
in his case, it's money laundering.
It's
Uh,
what?
it's money laundering. They
Yeah,
money
that's
from
exactly. That's what I'm
people.
saying. I think it's totally money
I mean,
laundering.
when I first got on job, when I first got on, I worked. One of the jobs I had, I worked for the Office of Professional Discipline, and we went after accountants, and we found I learned the account they
Yeah.
know how to launder money for their clients, and but they
Sure.
get caught. We go after them.
Right.
And how do you think they're catching? It's ironic that our law enforcement is not catching dealers selling drugs. They catch them money laundering.
Right.
And I think yeah, they check bank records, whatever, the whole investigative thing. But when
Right.
you get them, divert the attention of people by threatening the most important aspect of their life, health. We're headed for COVID scare. Joe, you're right.
We are.
You know why? Because all these people that are coming over the border are not being tested. They're not being vaccinated. They have to be
It's
vaccinated. We
not
have
even
been.
that though.
I went
They're
to a
just
restaurant today. The girl said, "You can vaccinate?" I said, "Yes." I said, "I have a tattoo of my stamp." I said, "It's on my ass. I'm going to take my pants down and show."
it's all about fear tactics, using fear
They
tactics.
and you know what? It's work. It's
And
going to work.
and here's the thing. This is what I was saying is that they're going to use more of the COVID scares, but after that, they're going and simultaneously now it looks like they're going in for the climate change scare. That was before COVID. They're going to go back and forth now. It looks like,
Yeah,
but
but let me tell you I really hope I'm wrong, but I know I'm not. All these people that are dispersed within the United States, you'll see COVID spike in those cities. These people are. What they normally. A lot of them are hard work. I feel bad about them because I would like them to come like family came over from Italy legitimately, and a lot of Spanish people come into this country and have contributed
of
to
course,
the.
yeah.
They don't like what's going on themselves. Wait a
Of
minute,
course they
I
don't.
went
They
through.
they worked so hard to come here legally and to pay their dues and they pay taxes and they contribute and then they watch all these people just walk over and they're given everything carte blanche. Yeah, that's so unfair to them.
And of
People
course,
who do
that
you know
them.
how hard it is to become an American citizen? I mean, they had to take tests. They had to go through all the proper channels, and then to watch other people, and then they pay taxes, and they watch other people just hop on over, and they don't have to do any of that.
You know who's pulling the strings of Biden? Susan Rice, Valerie
Valerie
Jarrett.
Jarrett.
Valerie Jarrett was the head of the housing department in Chicago.
Yeah,
She passed away, I think, for $300 million. She's incompetent.
yeah,
Incompetent. I forgot. She destroyed the whole whatever it was. Okay, and you can see that Chicago is in bad shape.
yeah.
She is a leftist of she's left of leftists.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay,
Yeah,
and they all work for the Michelle Obama's maiden name was Robinson. They work for her law firm, the Robinson firm. That was a hotbed of Marxists. Bridget
mhm.
Dorm, who blew up Francis Tavern, one of the weathermen, she got out of jail for 25 after 25 years. They hired her. It's all part of the game they play. Well,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, they're definitely following, the global agenda. I mean, you hear the whole administration. Well, I call them the current regime, but
okay.
they
Let me
keep
ask something,
saying build back
Courtney.
better.
I have
In order to build back better, you have to tear down first. But go on, yeah.
total respect for your intelligence. You're a very intelligent woman. How can we fight this socialism, this wave of socialism? Some of the
Mhm.
people don't realize they don't know what socialism is.
Right.
They don't. Everything's free, but there's a price for everything.
Everything. Yes. So, I mean, I would say really the biggest key right now is individual civil disobedience. We have complied for way too long. And people think that it's, oh, we'll just go along to get along, but the more you give up, the more they keep taking away. So, I mean, I think the COVID is a really good example. We thought 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Oh, just wear a mask. Oh, just get an injection. It's never a just. This is incrementalism, and that's what Marxists and the left are so good at. They just this little slow drip. People need to stand up and start fighting back. What you're seeing with the parents against critical race theory, that's what we need. We need more of that, where they say, no, we're not doing this. And
Well, the ones that are saying that are getting
right. So this is the
labeled terror.
let me just wrap this up. So it's not just saying no. They say no, and they say, if you continue, we take our kids out. We will take our kids out of the schools. The same thing with like what's happening with the airline. That's great. They're doing the lawsuit. They're striking against the mandate. That's awesome. That's what we need. We need people saying it stops here. I am not putting up with this anymore. We need more people. I mean, just simply not wearing masks. They can't. It's like when you see a whole bunch of cars parked where you're not supposed to park, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, they're not going to ticket all of the cars, right? They
Yeah,
can't.
right. Yeah.
Right. But it's the same thing. They can't come after the entire country if everybody stood up. So, and I was just actually a podcast I did earlier today. There's a book where they've done studies on this, and they proved you only need 3.5% of resistance to effectuate the change. So it really isn't that many people who need to stand up, but unfortunately, it's too few who do, and that's really what we need. We need the people who
lot of
see
people
the
are coming
tyranny to say no.
now because they're testing about CRT. They're claiming they're racist, and they claim that.
Who
I mean, they,
cares? What? So that's what bullies do, right? You remember, like the kids at school who are going to call names, they're going to pick on you, and they're just going to keep doing it, and especially if you keep giving them the reaction they want. So you have to decide what's more important to you: being liked or having freedom, and preserving America and preserving the free will of humanity. Or do you want to be liked? Do you want to be liked for 5 minutes? Because they're going to find something else to call you. They're always going to move the goalpost. So that's really, I think that people who want to stand up for these founding principles and for the free will of humanity need to stop caring, if they get called names. We need to stop. And that's really
I think you're right. Some people just don't want. They don't want to be bothered, so they let it go by.
But the sacrifice for not being bothered is that your freedom gets slowly, and now it's not so slowly. It's pretty quickly the acceleration where they just keep stripping away your freedom, and they keep doing it under the guise of shaming you by name calling and attacking your character, or by scaring you. Oh, there's a virus that's going to kill you, or there's the planet's going to collapse. They do it through fear, and they do it through shame. And people need to stand up and grow some courage. Courage is just as contagious. So we need more people exhibiting courage. And, we also need people who are not going to be shamed. They have enough conviction in their thoughts and their actions.
Well, there are people that will stand up to their. Say, okay, I'll give you an example. Uh, one of the one of the guys was at a restaurant, L.A., which I'm surprised because they're all. I'm doing a podcast. They what do you call the Black Lives Matter are screaming at the miners outside. A guy got up. I got up and said, "Hey, I'm not putting up with shit," and they backed away. They
Yeah,
backed away.
exactly. You don't give them what they want, then.
Well, you got to remember, even if you're a rough guy. I mean, when I say tough, I mean someone who can handle himself. If you're alone at a table with your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter or whatever, and you got 7 to 8 people protesting and coming over and touching you, you know that even if you're going to fight them, and you're going to get killed, you're going to get hurt, and your guest, you might get hurt too.
Mhm.
Kind of like, all right, hey guys, get out, get away. But that's what they do. They they crowd you, and
They do.
they're
Um,
cowards. Individuals would not do something like that individually, but when they have all their friends, different.
yeah.
Antifa is like Antifa. If you ever watch any of these Antifa, when boys or even not even cowboys, just somebody that's fighting a local people in the neighborhood if they're fighting against Antifa. Notice they sneak up and hit people behind the head and they run away. They're all cowards. Been living in their mother's basement for
Right.
years.
They are
They came
cowards.
out with their degree, they can't get a job, so they
Hmm.
complain all day long, complain, and they become socialistic, so to speak.
Right.
Now they have an organization they could join. And the people that you see on Antifa, they look silly. A lot of them are not healthy. They don't look. They're not like athletic at all, like you are. Like they can't climb up the rope like you with no.
Right. Right.
I got to tell you, that's good with no feet, just hand over hand. So, but they have something that they can as a group. What happens is this is for everybody. Everybody wants to belong to a group.
Yeah.
Everybody has to belong to a group. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a conservative, a politician, if you're an activist, if you're a hunter, you belong to a hunting group. If you're a skater, you belong to whatever. They have a group. They can't join anything else. So I guess there's no group of nerds. So they got it and Tifa, and it turned on that they can get out their frustration. But they're all cowards. Now, Black Lives Matter. You got some tough black guys in there. I've seen some of them. I've seen them in jail too. But they, but they they're mob rule. They like to have individually they're not gonna mess with anybody. But when the group they're gonna you know
Right. So, I mean, but with the exception of like the riots or, when you're dealing with an Antifa outbreak, a lot of what we're dealing with is not physical. A lot of what we're dealing with are people who are kowtowing because they're either being shamed or they're afraid. So when it's a physical situation, this is why we should not defund the police. This is when it becomes, there should be protection for dutiful citizens. But the reality is, most of the circumstances that so much could be won through the war of ideas. And I think that's where we're really losing. That small percent of where, riots break out or there's, some violent outbreaks. I understand if you're outnumbered, by these groups, then you
where I
might
come from, we have
more.
a saying: if you get attacked by a group
Mhm.
of and you think this is what I tell my sons to do, I tell everybody to do it. You grab one person out of that group, and
Right.
you do as much damage to that person as you can
Mhm.
because they're going to damage you. At least you got one person, and I
That's a
mean,
great strategy for
it
people who
sounds.
don't know to protect
Some
themselves.
people some of the snowflakes out there might say, that's barbaric. Ooh, it's terrible. But it's life. If
Right.
you're attacked, you're being mugged, and you know
Right.
you're beaten, you grab one of them and you make sure one of them do whatever you have to do
Right.
at least you got one of them.
And that's a great strategy for people who, don't know what to do in that circumstance and if you're in a physical environment. But I really want to encourage people who are, I think too many people are kowtowing when it's not a physical environment, when they just don't want to be shamed, they don't want to be called names or because they're so afraid, they're afraid of, whatever policy may come down the pike or, yeah.
It's 8 o'clock.
Oh,
I
all right.
hate to end. I
Time
love
to
being
find
with
out.
you. I love talking to you. And you know what I like about you? You make my mind start working. So we got it with clock. Anthony, you did a great job. Uh, uh, you, Courtney, oh, the best. And I want to thank all the people that have been making comments and the constructive comments. Hi Vinny. No, that's, but no, I had good.
That's the
I
most constructive. Is hi,
I'm
Vinny.
loving the show more and more. And as we say on Arthur Avenue, sempre always with us. Good night, everybody. See you next week. All right.